what a light, source of life and beauty. She takes care, protects you and me. When all over her dazzling mountain peaks, the majesty of ages speaks. So how have we returned her love? By poisoning the skies above, burning down her marvelous trees, and pouring waste into her seas. So let's understand and face our acts. We destroy our earth, that's a fact. Can't we bring back a smile on earth? Help her rebirth.
Recycling our waste.
Well, here it is, the infamous Payatas Dump, Manila's very own Smoky Mountain, one of the most monstrous heaps of garbage in the world.
Yeah, everything the city can't actually deal with is piled up here. 7 hectares of trash, up to 200 meters high. 4,000 people work here all the time, searching for things to resell.
Whoa, in this heat it must be emitting tons of greenhouse gases.
Yeah, and extremely toxic chemicals like benzene and toluene. But that doesn't stop dozens of impoverished people driven by poverty coming here every single day.
That's terrible. They should have stayed in the country. Yeah.
Oh, the stench is so gross.
You're absolutely right. It totally stinks. Ugh.
We're here to study how waste can be recycled and not on vacation. But I just don't know how these poor people can stand the smell here.
I assume they must get used to it.
Hey! Watch out! Watch out!
Bit of a strange place for tourists to come, but anyway, welcome to the dump. My name's Thomas. Hey, you were lucky. Those trucks can be pretty dangerous.
Tell me, shouldn't someone of your age be at school?
Do you say that because of my satchel? I found it on the dump. School? I've never been there. I learn everything here.
That's a shame. A school is interesting. You should try it one day. You'd like it. Have you seen all the kids working around here? A little bit of education could be their ticket out of here.
You see? When you manage to get on the back of the truck, you get to choose all the best stuff.
Nice one, but there has to be an easier way for you to make money.
Yeah, it is quite tough. I get by.
But working with trash is unhealthy. Really? How long have you had those marks on your arm there?
My parents say it's normal.
Oh,
Lots of people have them around here.
In order to treat this boy properly, he must stay away from the garbage dump.
My parents need me to work. If not, how are we gonna eat every day? I earn at least 150 pesos with this.
$4 for a day's work? Do you think it's worth risking your life for that?
What else can I do, though?
These homes were built on the dump. There's a whole town left there to rot by the authorities. There's no water. Our organization opened this health center. And we've also opened a school. Here's our kindergarten.
Right, children. Can we repeat that?
But we need more resources. Almost all the rag pickers suffer from diseases they catch off the trash. Not to mention the damage to lungs caused by all the gas emissions.
Doctor, come quick. My little girl fell up there. I think she may have broken her leg. She's in pain. Come quick.
Calm down. It's okay. I'll come straight away.
Thomas, where is he? I hope he hasn't run away.
Look, over there.
Right. At school, you don't have to stand up. You can sit.
If he takes an interest in school, he'll be all right. Yeah. If all the Smoky Mountain kids could go to school, they might be able to escape this misery. In the meantime, we gotta let the world know this can't be allowed to continue.
Of course we will. You could say that again.
Sadly, this situation isn't just limited to the Philippines and Manila. There are dumps like that in many poor countries. Even rich countries have their trash mountains. I wonder what C and Peter have found out in India. There's electronic waste trafficking in India of the worst kind.
New Delhi's just as modern as our cities in the West.
Though the recycling neighborhood isn't quite so cool. There's our friend from the regional branch.
This entire district is full of workshops that recycle computers. They come from all over the world.
They're breaking up computers with their bare hands and without protective masks. Even though they contain toxic metals that shouldn't be handled at all.
Yes, that's how they do recycling here. They're just left to get on with it, and no one tells them it's dangerous.
Hold it! Please don't do that. There's lead in that tube, and it could contaminate you.
You can't stop her. She doesn't have any other tools. She has to get the copper out of the tube. They make a living selling the copper and the other metals. Understand?
Hey, what's going on here?
These guys are gonna get seriously sick if they go on breathing in toxic smoke.
Keep your nose out of my business. It's perfectly legal, so disappear before I call the cops.
Come on, C. You're wasting your time. We're better off trying to track this back to its original source.
Hey, you two, get back to work.
And here is the import permit for the computers.
We'd like to check you're actually shipping working computers.
What's it to you? I have an import permit signed by the customs supervisor.
That's fine. Just open this container. We know you're illegally importing dangerous waste. With the complicity of this customs officer.
What's going on here? We're the guardians of the planet.
You're breaching the Basel Convention banning the export of waste.
Careful. This stuff is very toxic.
We're not moving as long as your ship continues to be docked here. We seem to have some pretty irrefutable evidence against you.
This is all your fault. Give me my money back.
You're under arrest.
We can use that bribe money to buy masks and protective gloves for the recyclers.
Well done, you kids. Every victory, however small, is invaluable, and what you saw happens every day in poor countries. Waste, yes, but not in our backyard.
It's the manufacturers who are responsible. They build appliances with shorter and shorter lifespans. There'll soon be more than 500 million unused computers and as many surplus cell phones worldwide.
Yeah, the amount of waste is out of control. Every year, each of our major countries produces an industrial, agricultural, and domestic waste mountain as high as Mont Blanc. In Europe, an inhabitant of an industrialized country threw away 20 kilos of waste a year in 1900, but now throws away more than 500 kilos a year. North Americans hold the world record with 900 kilos of waste a year.
Whereas the Africans only produce 17 kilos a year, which is almost completely eaten by animals. Is that why we send them our waste? To make it fair?
All that our prehistoric ancestors had to do when their cave filled up with trash was move on. Today, we can't just move on. We have to deal with our waste. But how? So then, kids, how are we to deal with all this waste? In dumps that are better designed? With incinerators? Have you any ideas?
Waste burned in incinerators doesn't disappear even when it's being burnt. A ton of waste produces 300 kilos of ash and 700 kilos of smoke. Both are harmful. The ash is full of toxic substances, and the smoke is highly polluting. In regions located near an incinerator, entire herds have had to be slaughtered because the cow's milk was poisoned.
And the dump near my place is no better. They cleared part of the forest to make room for it. Ever since then, it's been polluting the rivers and the water table.
So we're all agreed, processing waste in dumps or incinerators isn't the right solution. So?
There's only one answer, a zero tolerance of waste. Reducing manufacturer waste at the source.
And that of the consumers.
I know of a company that produces detergents and washing powders using methods that are environmentally friendly. Waste reduction is their priority. The factory is built of wood and the roof is covered in earth and plants to insulate it. The machine that mixes the ingredients consumes 5 times less electricity than ones normally used. The product is concentrated so it can be packed in smaller containers, meaning less waste to recycle. The bottles, labels, and caps are all produced from the same material to facilitate recycling.
Whereas a computer monitor is made from 24 different plastics. So recycling that is a real headache.
The boxes used to pack the detergent are reused 15 times with no adhesive. And the electricity for the plant comes from a neighboring wind farm. All materials purchased from suppliers must meet certain standards and not contain any toxic substances. The trucks use a biofuel mixture and only deliver locally to limit their carbon dioxide emissions. There is a bonus payable to all staff who come to work by bicycle instead of car. And company executives take trains, which pollute much less than planes. A great example, I think.
Absolutely. That's what computer manufacturers should do to limit the toxicity of their products. and make them more easily recyclable. Any other suggestions?
How about eco-concepts, like offering deposits on glass bottles, like when my grandma was young?
Right. so
Reusing instead of recycling. Some countries already do it.
And some products could or should be hired out instead of sold, like cell phones, for example.
Are you crazy? My cell phone belongs to me, and nobody else.
But instead of buying more and more cell phones all the time, leading to more and more waste, imagine we hired them from a rental and repair service. They'd last longer because it'd be in the manufacturer's interest.
Top up, please.
And the trash can wouldn't have so much work to do.
And what about industry? That's the biggest waste producer on the planet.
Have any of you got any thoughts or opinions on industrial waste?
I have. There's a solution that's already been around for quite a while. They're known as eco-parks, and nature already has them. Plants need water and the minerals from the soil. The caterpillar feeds on the plants. The blackbird then eats it. And the cat, or even a fox at night, will catch the blackbird at some point and eat it. At the bottom of the pond, microorganisms and worms turn residues and vegetable waste into mineral salts that will feed the plants, so the cycle starts again. One organism's waste is another's food. It's an endless loop. An eco-park is the same. In Kalundborg in Denmark, factories have been set up next to each other. A power plant produces waste hot water, which is piped to a fish farm in the town heating system. It also produces mineral waste, which is taken to a plaster factory, and ash used by the cement plant. The cement plant produces fertilizer that farmers use on their fields. The oil refinement emits sulfur, which it passes on to an acid manufacturer. There is also a pharmaceutical company which gets its own steam from the power plant and supplies fertilizer sludge to farmers. One man's waste is another man's resource. The cycle is complete. Zero waste, and there are savings for the companies.
An excellent example. So that magnificent story should have perhaps convinced our friends here. Anyway, although our future depends on waste reduction, for the moment, we also have to recycle the waste we put in our trash cans every day. Our aim of zero waste will not be achieved without recycling. Many countries have realized this. But here's a film that Munya brought back from her trip to Brazil.
When I heard that 80% of the inhabitants of Curitiba traveled in cheap buses, I knew this wasn't going to be just any city. The mayor of Curitiba has introduced a unique system of green exchange, trash for food. For every kilo of recyclable waste they hand in, the poor people in the favela get a kilo of fruit and vegetables back. Before, there were dumps in the shanty towns. They've been replaced by 100% organic gardens, so the people can have a more healthy, balanced diet. 600 tons of paper, plastics, and metals are recycled each month. They've got plenty of ideas in Curitiba. The mayor has set up another project called Cash for Trash. The people in the favela collect all the city's recyclable waste and sell it to the recycling centers. The UN has presented an award to the city of Curitiba and named it the People's City because it looks after the well-being of its inhabitants and their health.
That's what they should do in the Philippines and get rid of Smoky Mountain.
I've just heard from our friends down there, actually. The authorities have banned the construction of incinerators and set up a zero-waste program in several towns. There are campaigns to teach people how to sort their waste. Now, unwanted plastics are processed in plants and turned into new products.
It's an encouraging sign to see these countries dealing with their waste problem. But developed nations are finally realizing how urgent it is to develop recycling and composting.
Yeah, in Canada, it's a priority now. All the residents have separate refuse containers. The size of the containers has been increased and new recycling procedures introduced.
And in California, a mall of the future has been opened, totally devoted to recycling. The customers bring various items to be recycled and go round the different stores selling them. At the end of their visit, they can spend the money they've earned in the central store, which only sells recycled products, of course.
And the methane produced by organic waste can also be turned into biogas to replace oil. The city of Lille is building the largest organic recovery center in Europe. It will produce 4 million cubic meters of biogas a year with no pollution or bad smells. The city's buses already run on biogas.
Maestro, I've brought our trash can so we can analyze its contents.
The figures you've given me are the typical contents of trash cans in our country. 10% newspapers, 16% remains of meals, 24% miscellaneous, and the inevitable 50% packaging. You know, we must actually produce enough packaging to wrap the entire planet. So now, where's all the trash from your garbage can?
Over there!
There isn't any. That's not garbage, but raw materials that can have a second lease of life. With recycled aluminium, you can make all kinds of interesting stuff, saving 95% of the energy needed to produce it from ore. Isn't that right, Maestro?
Oh, abracadabra!
Recycled paper uses 20 times less wood and 100 times less water.
And old clothes can be reused in the textile industry to make cleaning cloths or new clothes.
Wood can be recycled in 1,000 ways.
But it's glass that is the easiest thing to recycle. Oh!
Remember what the great French chemist Lavoisier once said? Nothing's lost, nothing's created, everything's just transformed. We live in an amazing world. Our windshields become bottles. Cans are turned into electric kettles, and the soles of our shoes once lived lives in the fast lane as car tires. We have to be imaginative, improving production techniques and reducing waste at source. We consumers must start thinking of our waste as useful raw materials that we need. That's just one simple way that we can stop poisoning our Earth.
See the mother who gave us birth, our faithful guide and friend, the earth. Look to her skies, so dear and so bright, that warm our hearts and bring us light. What a light, what a light.